My name is Damon Conklin. I'm a tattooer. I'm a tattoo man, world traveling, man of mystery. I am the owner of SuperGenius Tattoo, one of the original founders of the Seattle Tattoo Expo. I've been tattooing for 29 years, 29 and a half years, so I can get credit for every ounce of that stuff. And I love it. This is the life. Well, to be honest, I wanted nothing to do with owning a shop. I was in a really good place working at Apocalypse Tattoo with a bunch of friends of mine who were all still friends to this day. We've moved all over the world since then. But a lady walked in and said, hey, I want to sell you my tattoo shop. I think it's a good fit. I'm like, no thanks. I'm going to do more snowboarding this year, cut back on my schedule. Good luck though, And she came back 2 or 3 weeks later and she's like, look, Damon, I really think that you're a good fit for this. Here's what I'm willing to do. She offered me a deal I couldn't, it was just too good of a deal, The price was cheap, she was willing to take no interest payments, and I'm like, well, if the landlord will give me the lease, I had horrible credit. I didn't exist except for when I fucked up, So I'm like, if the landlord will give me the lease, sure enough, I knew the landlord. And she's like, the landlord gets back to me, she's all like, well, your references are stellar. Your credit sucks. and she's like, but she gave me the lease. And so, here we are almost 23 years later. It's funny, my life is like the life of Forrest Gump, I feel like. I'm just walking, Jenny, I was trying to get other people to start a tattoo expo here. And they wanted nothing to do with it. And I was telling some people, I was just having a lot of good experiences out on the convention circuit, and I wanted Seattle to have that experience. I wanted us to see the artists of the world brought to Seattle. I wanted the artists of the world to see the talent that we have here in Seattle. And someone I was tattooing was like, well, I'm gonna introduce you to my friend Gloria, and she puts on events. And we met, and we met up with the owner of the Showbox at the time, and me and Jeff Steichen and Gloria sat down, and I think it was like 3 or 4 months later, we were at our first tattoo expo. And obviously in that short of a period of time, you don't necessarily hit a home run, but the vibes were good and people loved it. The public seemed to respond well. And so we did it again, and we moved it to the Seattle Center that year. And so that was in its 23rd year this year. I was a 50-50 partner for the first, 10 or 12 years or so. I've backed off from that, and now I get to enjoy the convention more. They're still really extra nice to us, and I get a little bit of press every once in a while out of it, but I really just get to enjoy the show as another shop owner. Well, yeah, I like to run my shop, I guess, more on principles than structure. So like our priorities are, we want to get along and we want to be proactive about getting along with each other and with clients. Which means if we come across hurdles, we want to take proactive action to communicate through it and figure out how we can get along with each other. And as artists, we're very emotional, and that's healthy and that's valid and good. But we like to be able to work through all that stuff and get along, and it seems to be working pretty well. We want to be accessible to clients. We want to be a place where a client can walk in and feel like my favorite compliment is when someone says, I went to your place, while you were out of town or doing this thing or that thing, and it was just such a good vibe. Like I just love to hear that. Artists and clients in a creative space with a good vibe are gonna make magic. We're all here in life to try to experience some magic, so. I feel like we have a pretty widespread, we've got a pretty diverse palette to offer. We definitely are pretty strong in like the traditional and neo-traditional sense. We've got a lot of artists that do a lot of that, but we also have a lot of illustrational quality to our work here. I know Eric Martz does portraits. Kate has done a couple of portraits. And I don't know, we're a group of creative people. I like to foster drawing learning. and that desire to grow as an artist all the time. And sometimes I'll see people doing large, like sacred geometry pieces, and I'm like, holy shit, Corey, I didn't even know you did that. And that's the kind of creative environment I like to be in. You know, I think the benefit of having such a huge group is to be able to get a little bit of sacred geometry in my neo-trad, and get a little bit of illustration technique worked into my Japanese, and get a little bit of Japanese into my traditional, and to see how all that stuff maintains the strength of its roots, but offers something a little bit more dynamic. Well, I've been fortunate enough through my years as a tattooer to have traveled a lot and met a lot of people in a lot of places. So it's fairly routine for me to get a call or a text or an email from someone that I've either met somewhere, or they know somebody that I've met and they want to come to town to do a guest spot. Sometimes they're thinking about moving here. Sometimes they just want to check Seattle out and see what the northern western corner of the country looks like, and do a little work while they're in town. It's pretty simple and it's pretty informal, but we bring people in. We usually have someone, at least one or two a month, you know, that come through either for a couple of days or for a week or more. And sometimes there are people who used to work here. You know, recently Mike Gordillo from Florida, where he now owns his own shop. He comes back into town periodically, and he was here recently. And then sometimes we go off to visit them and go sit in at their places. And it provides fresh inspiration for the artists. It brings a fresh vibe that I think the customers even pick up on. And there's something, you know, moving water is fresh water, and I think creativity works that way too. Well, I think one of the benefits of running a place based on principles instead of like structure is that we get to benefit from the idea of bringing that workability, that want to get along and want to grow, creates a vibe. And in that vibe, a customer is able to come in and get tattooed, which is going to hurt and it's going to cost some money. And the least we can do is try to make that an enjoyable experience. You know, and it's one of those things that tattooing is kind of an intimate thing that happens. And when the vibe is bad in an intimate situation, it's a very violating feeling. And so we want to be like on the opposite side of that. And we know that when a good vibe happens in that kind of an intimate situation, then that creates a really strong positive feeling. I like strong positive feelings. We all do. And I think that's kind of the benefit of being the friendly kind of shop that we are, is that we get to live in that kind of magical place and try to provide that for our customer, so we can have fun, which helps deal our way through the pain and the difficulty of the situation. Well, I mean, first of all, as a, you know, being artists in an area, we don't want to be just a contained capsule. You know, we're part of a living, breathing organism that is Capitol Hill. So, you know, we want to be a part of events that happen around here. We have good working relationships with people that work at the surrounding areas. We host events. Sometimes they're art nights. Sometimes they're figure drawing, or sometimes we bring someone in to teach, and people from other shops are invited and welcome to come to those. And sometimes we go to their events as well. Things like Block Party, you know, where we have such a great working relationship, having been here forever, with the other business owners in the area, that we're able to like one of the things we do especially at Block Party is, like, a lot of the bouncers have a certain specific tattoo that they get that's like part of their little club thing, and we do an extra super discounted rate for that, and we've done a lot of those over the years. And but yeah, we like being, I mean, if you're gonna live on Party Mountain here on Capitol Hill, you got to be available for some of the party, man. You want to be a part of it's too fun of a thing to miss out on. I feel really blessed to have been able to have worked in this area for as long as I have, around the wide variety of amazing, talented, and artists and beautiful people that I've gotten to really work with. Right now we have a crew of people that have a lot of personal magic that contributes to the good vibes that we try to present. And they're involved in the community around them in different ways. And you know, the ability to be able to do things for individuals or charities that are relevant to the neighborhood is an amazing thing. And just to be a part of all this and watch the young generation of tattooers kind of come up, because at some point as an old artist, it shifts from being about me and promoting my stuff to being able to try to give the artists that work for me, the younger generation, what do they need to help them grow and flower and be all that they can be, you know, and to watch how they have their own unique impacts on their circles of, you know, that they're involved in. And it's just a really fun thing. And I hope I get to do this for another 23 years. If I live that long, you never know. Yeah, it's just really fun. I've got the life. Yeah. So feel free to come on by anytime. And we're here right next to Numos on Capitol Hill. And we've got T-shirts and stickers and hats and all kinds of prints and stuff besides just tattoos to offer, and a good vibe. And let me know if I'm not here. Hit me up on Instagram or Facebook and tell me what you thought of the place. We're here to help. If you have any questions, answers, or words of wisdom, feel free to reach out.